Film Festival, and here with me today I have Colm Donston, director-writer of the film Peace Be With You. Colm, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me, Emily.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So, Colm, can you give our live viewers a tidbit about your film?
Yeah, Peace Be With You is a coming of age comedy based around religion, growing up in the Catholic Church, and also just growing up in general, based off of my own personal experiences and also the experiences of my producer, Tracy Hess. So, yeah.
And when did you, I guess, come up with this storyline and jump into filming?
Yeah, it was so it's my BFA thesis. I graduated from Emerson College, so when it was kind of gearing up to apply to join the BFA program, I went through a couple of different ideas, and then my dad actually told me a story about the time he broke a hand off of a Mother Mary statue, and it kind of all just spun out from there. And I started, like the idea came to me, and I wrote a story about a boy in middle school, girl in high school coming together trying to fix a statue that they broke in church. It all just kind of happened, and it was all happening over COVID. I was writing it while in lockdown and doing that sort of thing. And I went to Georgie, who's my dear friend, and I was like, "Hey, would you be interested in producing this?" And she said yes, and the rest is history. Yeah.
So, you filmed this over COVID.
Yeah, we filmed this during COVID, so we had some pretty tough protocols to follow. Emerson had kind of, put over the producing side of things. So we only had a certain amount of people. We only had I think it was like 7 people on set crew wise, and we can only have 3 actors at most. We all had to wear face shields, masks, so you can't see any of that behind the scenes. And then the actors had to be separated 5 feet. So most of the scenes, if you'll notice, they're actually not close together, or we're faking it to make it look like they're closer together than they actually are. Yeah.
And when exactly during COVID did you film this?
This was, gosh, God, the days have all blurred together. It was April of, I want to say 2021.
Okay.
April
That sounds, I would say that sounds about right with like the way you're talking about. 'Cause if you said April 2020, I was like, the world was still shut
No,
down.
not April 2020, April 2020. Yeah, because April 2022 is last year. I'm telling you, the days are meshing together. But yeah, April 2021. I remember because we did our rehearsal weekend, Easter. So it was very funny. We got into the church right after all the Easter masses had happened. It was there were like eggs everywhere. It was kind of cool.
And so you said that everyone that helped you out with this film was also a student?
Yeah, pretty much everybody that helped us out was a student, except for the person who plays the priest in it. He was actually just an acting friend of mine, Bates Wilder. So yeah, everybody else was students though.
And so, like with that, so I'm assuming you finished school now. You said you did this as
Yes.
your
Yeah, I
thesis.
graduated this past May.
Oh, well, congratulations. So, with that, with your education and this film in particular, what would you say was an obstacle or like a stump you ran into that you think you've learned from that you can apply in the future?
Oh gosh. So many things. I think the biggest thing was like we kept running into a lot of challenges of like locations dropping out. I mean, this all takes place in one location, so it's all in one church. So we had to keep constantly finding new places because people just became uncomfortable with us shooting there with COVID and this and that. And I think the thing I learned is that like it works out the way it's supposed to. If you put in like the work for it, obviously, but we kept persevering and we kept hitting different roadblocks here and there. A crew member got COVID. We had to find somebody else to replace them the week of, right? That sort of stuff. You just kind of got to persevere and sometimes get really creative with how you go about solving problems, I think. And that's just something I've now taken with me, especially after this project.
I do hear like problem solving seems to be like a big one for a lot of
Yeah,
people. So
yeah. It's tough. It sometimes gets like you get dejected, but I guess that's the thing is you just got to smile and be like, oh, it's gonna be even better now that we found this new thing.
right. So, like with that, what got you into? Because you're saying, you went to school for this. What was it like that, got you into directing and writing? Like, what was the movie that made you want to start it all?
What was the movie that made me want to start it all? It's funny. It's So I started out as an actor, and I did musical theater for a long time, as I'm sure you can tell by the way I
Mhm.
just like speak. But I started out as a musical theater actor, and I knew that it wasn't for me when I realized all my friends were going to see Broadway shows and like theater productions, and I was going to the movies on Sunday.
Mhm.
But for me, I think the movie that really did it and locked it in, and this is so I feel like so cliche, but it's Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That was the movie. I remember reading the books and then was so excited to go see it, and I loved it, and it was epic, and Edgar Wright was so cool, and I was like, I was so young, and I wasn't definitely supposed to go see the movie at the age I saw it at, but my really godmother took me and was like, "We'll go see it, and we won't tell your parents." So I think that was the one that I was like, "I got to do this. This is amazing." So, yeah.
And how old were you when you
Oh gosh,
saw this movie?
I feel like I was 10, 11. I don't know. It was definitely, like, very cool to go see it, and I was, like, telling people I saw it, people were like, "Scandalous."
So,
So that was fun.
with that, did you, like, just like, how did you get into filmmaking?
Yeah, it happened in high school, actually. I had been kind of like, I had done some stuff, like, in my home and, like, made, like silly videos with my brother, but it really happened when I went to a program at Brown. It was like a film program. I really wanted to try it. I did it, and I actually met my best friend there, and we've been friends ever since. But it was just this great program, and I was like, "This is absolutely what I want to do." And it was right before senior year of high school, and I said, that's what I'm gonna apply for colleges." And yeah, and I kind of was just like off the whim, and I was like, "Yeah, this is it." And that's where I made my first short film, so that was cool.
So, between directing and writing, which would you say you prefer?
Definitely directing, and that's because of the acting background. That's just because like a lot of the stuff that I've learned through that training really applies, and I enjoy. Producing's really stressful, so that one is definitely it's fun, but it puts a lot of pressure.
Okay.
And writing is just so much rewriting and thinking. But like directing is a lot of planning, but it's also a lot of off the cuff, and it's a lot of like in the moment. What's the thing that's gonna elevate this this scene, this performance, this moment? And you kind of just gotta trust your gut. So
So you would say it's like so like with this, like what is you're saying it's like a coming of age like comedy. So do you like to stick to comedies?
Um, I love comedy. I love it. It's like my favorite stuff to watch also. Um, and I just kind of like to think that everything's a little bit funny.
Mhm.
But no, not necessarily. I mean, like I'm a big horror movie fan, so I would love to do something horror related in the future. I grew up on comic books, so like I think superhero stuff is really interesting. Anything really. That's kind of the awesome part about film. It's like you can just do so much, and you can genre blend. Like when we were doing Peace Be With You, and I was pitching it to people, they were like, "You're gonna do a comedy about religion?" They were like, "So is it gonna be like this like Jesus-y movie?" And I was like, "Well, no and yes." Like I was like, it's supposed to toe the line pretty fine. So I love that. I love that element of just movies. It's like you can just take different things and be like, does this work? Let's see. So anything really.
So you're saying like this all kick started from your dad telling you a story about how he broke
Yeah.
the statue. So what does your dad think of the movie?
Oh, I mean, he thinks it's funny. I didn't tell him anything about it though. When I told him the idea, I was like, we're gonna do the story. It's gonna be these two kids in a church." He was like, "Okay, weird." And then when he saw it for the first time when we screened the BFAs at Emerson, he was just like, he was sitting next to me and he was laughing and cracking up, and he was like, "I can't believe you did this," in the best way. He wasn't like mad. And that was awesome. It made me really happy to see him laugh at this sort of thing and this great story that he's told me multiple times in my life, but he told it to me also at the perfect time. And yeah, without him, it definitely wouldn't exist. So I feel very lucky.
So is this your first time submitting this to a film festival?
Yeah, yeah. So I've made short films, never really put them out. And Peace Be With You just felt like the right thing. And I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. I'm from New Jersey originally. I'm from Hoboken, so I knew of the Garden State Film Festival because of my teachers in high school. Actually, they were also filmmakers, and so they told me that they got their festival and their project in here however many years ago, and I was like, I can remember that. So I did, and I was like, okay, Garden State Film Festival, here we go. And I'm very lucky that I got in. So yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. And this is your first year with the Garden State Film Festival.
Yep, this is my first year.
That's fantastic. And I know that you had said you don't think you'll be able to make it this year, but your parents.
Unfortunately, yeah, I won't. I just moved out to LA very recently, so I'm, kind of getting my legs out here and figuring that out. But I do hope to be back in the future. I've got a few other projects coming up that I'm hoping to enter next year and the year after, so I can make it out there at least once. Yeah.
Well, I mean, congratulations on the move. That's like a huge, I mean, it's one point of the country all the way to the other side. So,
Yes. It's dizzying, but it's great. It's felt great. Very different from New Jersey, though. Very different from New Jersey.
isn't there only like one season there while we've got like four in one week?
Yeah, true, true. Very true. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been New Jersey weather though this past week. It was like crazy raining. But it's very warm all the time, so that's cool.
So I don't think I asked you yet, what is it that you want your audience to take away from the film when they watch it?
Yeah, I think the thing is the whole idea behind it was always, grow up. I grew up in the church, and growing up in high school and growing up in middle school, it's all really confusing, and it's all these conflicting ideals, and you're wondering if you're right and wrong, and what's the right thing to do, and what's the right path to take, and what's the right thing to believe. And the thesis was always, it's going to be okay. Like, it's going to go be okay no matter what you sort of decide to do or end up doing, and just trust yourself and enjoy it. Enjoy the confusion for what it is, because it teaches you a lot. So I think that was always the message I wanted to get across.
That's a great message to send out. So, I mean, do you have any future plans for this film?
I think the future plan is once it's done its festival run is to put it online on something like No Budge, Film Shortage, these great short film platforms online. House it there for a little while and hope that people will enjoy it for years to come. And yeah, I think it's always meant to be. It was always meant to be a short film. It's never meant to be this greater thing, because it's just so nice. I think it's just this nice little contained thing that I got to do. So yeah.
Awesome. And like, so what would you say is something you haven't done yet that you want to do as a goal for yourself?
Make a feature film. That's definitely the next step. I don't know when, I don't know what it is, but I think that's the thing, is to try and do a longer form piece and see what comes of it and see if I'm any good at it. Who knows? Yeah.
Do you have any like ideas in mind of what you think your next story will be?
Gosh. There's a few. Talking about horror, there's a horror movie idea I've been toying around with, but the one I've really been mulling over is actually funny is doing now. Peace Be With You was my reflection on high school and middle school, and I think now I want to do a reflection on starting college and doing something like that. Some sort of coming of age piece, specifically diving into friendships into the collegiate setting. So yeah.
That's really cool. And so, do you want to, while you're in LA, stick to directing and writing, you think?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's tough. It's tough because it's a tough thing to navigate out here for sure. But I definitely want to do that. The goal overall is, even if it's not what my whole career ends up being, is at least to do it once and to have some sort of film or some sort of project that's got my name on it and be like, okay, I did it, I committed to it, and it exists. And it may not be the best thing ever, it may not win tons of awards, but like to at least say you did it and to make something like that, it's so
Absolutely.
rewarding.
Well, Colm, I really appreciate you taking this time with me today. It is a shame I won't get to meet you in person, but it was great to talk to you, get to put a face to the name of this great little film that you've made. So you guys, you can see Peace Be With You on Sunday, March 26th at the Berkeley Continental from 2:45 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. Colm, I hope you have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I wish you the best of luck in LA.
Thank you so much. It was very nice getting to talk with you. Thank you, everybody.